Okay, what up, people? So, today I want to go ahead and challenge myself and learn to build an application. Where necessary, we want to have this application to run on mobile, both Android and iOS, and then also on the desktop. That would be either the Windows, MacOSX, or the so-called Linux that I have actually barely used it. I mean, I understand about it. I know a lot of technical developers and people who work a lot in server sides kind of prefer to do work on Linux. It's kind of like the open source version of any operating system that you can actually find out there. And so we're gonna go ahead and do some soul searching, and then we will pick up a programming language, and then we might have a chance to learn about that depending on how I deemed it. But maybe for the interest of the course, I will probably recommend that you go ahead and learn that programming language, and whichever that one is, and then you can kind of come back and watch how we apply that programming language to solve real world problem. And so this is going to be like a kind of a learning app that we're going to be building. And I'm going to be brutal enough, and we will kind of steal some ideas from this website here. So there's super lots of applications that we can actually build here. For instance, we could test our social media networking building application for social media. Test those ideas there. We can also test an idea for creating a document and stuff like that. And so for the courses and all the materials that's going to be for this particular course is going to be under this particular it's going to be published on this website. And just for your information, this is one of the applications that I have written, and I'm not going to be disclosing like the technologies that are used for this, but a smart person could kind of sometimes figure these out. For this particular one, we're going to have to do first of all some research and see which technology are we going to saddle with. Are we going to be using web technologies, or are we going to go for other technologies that's actually going to help us write a cross-platform application? So the goal here is to say, picture ourselves as we are a solo entrepreneur, technical entrepreneur, and now we want to use our development skill set to build a cross-platform application to like maybe sell it as a source project, or as something that just to test us to see if we're really proficient enough in a given technology to actually put something out there people can actually use. And so this is a great example of learning to build actually applications by yourself, getting your hands actually dirty. And so for this particular one, I'm more into web technologies guy. I like JavaScript, TypeScript, React, Next.js, and all those good stuff that comes up out of the box with web tech stacks. The problem with that I have oftentimes realized is that then you have to maintain at minimum 3 different kinds of code bases, or at least 2 different kinds of code, actually 3 different kinds of code bases. So if you are tricky enough and really smart enough, you can maintain 2 code bases which are all at least in the same programming language. But if you are a solo programmer, that becomes a little bit of a problem. And so I believe that that's not a very good kind of ways, and I kind of come across another article in my spare time, and that article actually made a claim on a particular programming language. And I think that's what we're going to be kind of researching, and probably will end up using that. And that programming language is called Dirt. And I think if I'm translating my web technology knowledge well, that means the framework for writing cross-platform application is actually Flutter. And Flutter is kind of I wonder if I'm pronouncing that well, but Flutter is actually one of the popular stack that people actually use to build a cross-platform application, meaning that you only use one programming language to write application that will run on iOS, Android, on macOSX, and also on the web. And so for all these projects, you get to maintain only one code base. How cool is that? And so but also, according to this article, which I will actually include, I think also one of the other thing is that you get to choose what did I want to say? You get to flex up your muscle. I wonder if I catch that right. And I might probably want to try to think about that before I publish the video. But the other thing about these videos, the videos are going to be raw, so I don't have the time to kind of edit stuff, and so I'm just gonna put things like the way they are, unless maybe I take like a very long time in researching something, in which I think it shouldn't end up there, and that's the time maybe I might try to do a little bit of cut and chop, put it there. Now, if you want to follow along, I think for the editing, I'm going to be using an application that is called DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve is going to be the one that I'm going to be using for editing my videos and putting it on YouTube there. In case I make some mistake, that's what I'm going to be using for cutting it out. Why DaVinci Resolve? Because it gives you these complex video editing tools that not so complex, but something that is, I wonder if you, I wish you were seeing these, but unfortunately it looks like you're not going to be seeing these. There's really a cool picture, but you can see already this is there are already some nice projects that I have here. So for instance, I can like load these, and it looks like it has loaded, but it ran to my other screen. So if I bring this up here, this is actually going to be the application. It's I gotta admit, this is gonna be quite complex and very daunting for a new video editor. But the good news is that this is not about video. This course is not about video editing. I only mention this so to let you know, if you wonder what kind of tools am I going to be using for editing the video and putting it there. But that's what I'm going to be using. And so with that out of the way, let's look at some specific things that we're going to go and need. So my browser of choice is going to be Chromium, okay, and I might also sometimes jump to Brave or Google Chrome or whatever. But if you haven't yet, you should actually try to get that out. So and then also, of course, you've gotta come here. This application is free of charge, and so I am going to kind of create here. So since I was already convinced with the article that I have read, unfortunately I can't share it, but I'm gonna put a version of that article, my version, from what I have gathered from like about 4 or 5 articles, and what I have learned, I'm gonna put it down here, so you should be able to get it here on this website. And this is my own website. And these are things that I do during my spare time. But I know there was one time I think I took like about 1 year working on these applications really, really hard. And I kind of quit my job as well. And so I did that to make it look the way it is. It looks very simple, but actually it's quite complex. There's a lot going on. And this is why I say part of this thing that we're going to be using in this exercise is to steal some of the ideas from here, and then we can kind of walk through how I build it. But for this particular course, I'm not going to be using any web technologies, at least maybe minimum I expect and I hope. But if there is a need, then you should know that I'm at least an expert in that. I can vouch for that because I have over 7 years of experience building web applications, and also some React Native projects that actually run on both iOS and Android. And so I do have quite a bit of experience in there. But for this particular course, we're picking up some uncharted water. And so right away, if you are the kinds of person who likes to learn from people who know what they're actually doing, then probably this is not the right place for you. But if you are that kind of person who enjoys self-teaching, teaching yourself, or who enjoys wanting to see how people who are actually clueless, idiots actually, maybe idiots is not the best way, and if you enjoy how people like that actually struggle and bring something out, like a quality application like this one you're seeing. So let me actually go ahead and put this one here. Introduction. Let's see. Introduction to Flutter. Introduction to Flutter. I don't know if that's the best way of building that stuff, but I'm gonna go put that out. So let's see what just didn't happen. Was there anything that, okay, so all right, there we go. So we have our stuff. So I'm going to go here and maybe I'll just first of all rename this and call it instead of Flutter. So I'm just gonna call Flutter project. Okay, so this probably you may not see it when I publish this application, but you're going to be able to see those individual files. Probably I will probably package those things into a nice little course after the end of this one. But for the real time, this is actually what I'm gonna be going through. And so here I will just go ahead and create a new stuff. I will say like introduction. I put it here as an introduction, and now you can see we are already now let's see what's going on here. Stuff is not behaving well. Oh, okay, there we go. So I'm gonna go and actually punch that up so we are only seeing that particular stuff. So I talked about that video editing. Video editing is gonna be the video editing will be something like on it's going to be something like video editing. So I said here I will be using DaVinci. Is it? I don't know if it's like something like that, but DaVinci Resolve. I'm probably not writing that well, but who cares? Yeah, so DaVinci here, this V is actually, they put it like a capital, something like this, DaVinci Resolve. I guess at least I got that right. And then I'm also going to be using my browsers here. My browser of choice actually here is going to be, let's see, browsers of choice here. I'm going to be using Chromium. Feel free to use that, but also use whatever you want. I'm on a Mac, so if you want, you can use Safari, but I don't like Safari, and so I'm not going to be using that. Probably we may not need some of these browsers, but who cares? Because we're trying to stay away from web technologies, and so but at least to just mention that you should be familiar with that, some of the stuff. And then of course sometimes I might flip for a Brave browser, but that's it. And so let's see what else. So let's see here. So what is next? So the next thing is going to be let's see, the choice of programming, the programming language here. This is going to be Dirt. We're going to choose Dirt. I think, is it like this, Dirt? I don't know if that's written correctly, but let's see. Is it Dirt programming language? Let's see, there we go. So this is, we don't want the Udemy stuff, but it looks like this is actually the one here. So yes. Okay, so they said it's maintained by Google. So that's what the other stuff says. Okay, so it is got Blue Sky here, one of the newest social media app that's coming up, and the one competing with Sqaico. I'm kidding, but yeah, so you've got a very nice little I mean, really nice. I think I like this one. This is my first time actually visiting this website, but it looks like it's actually very cool. So you can also try some kind of you can try to run some stuff here, and it looks like it's doing some compilation, and it's freaking slow for somebody who say like I'm doing something like this. Compare some of this stuff with how do I say it? Compare this stuff with TypeScript, right? I'm kind of used to TypeScript, and quite frankly, this stuff of compiling stuff, that doesn't just never works for me or something. So I guess we could change this one here to T, and then add T here, and it's kind of complaining, and then we can also put here T here. So looks like that actually should work out right away. And does this accept comment? This is a comment. Perfect. Actually, so it's using a C's kind of a C type kind of style to do stuff. But the one thing I really don't like is the here, there's a whole thing here. Don't like this. This is terrible. Because I like to see when I do stuff. Yeah, so it's saying Google terms and whatever stuff like that. So it's true that it's actually Google. What the hell? I shouldn't have enabled that AI stuff, but let's see. What is this all about? I'm gonna say awesome. What is that? Import Dirt, awesome, whatever. So I have no idea what this IDX actually is, but I kind of click on it, and it's running that. Let's see what's an IDX is still. Oh man. Okay, so the one thing right away I don't like is the developer experience is not as fast as you would in the other stuff. But fair enough, this is a new territory, and so we're gonna go and include this here in our stuff. So let's say let's actually, should we call this text stacks? Text stacks. So here we're gonna have the programming language is gonna be Dirt, and then the website for these is gonna be, that's gonna be the URL. So let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so what is next? The next thing here, I'm gonna go ahead and actually do this, get rid of that. And so what is the next thing here? Then the probably thing that the next thing that we want to look at is going to be the framework. So I have to kind of update you on this. Even though we're looking at the programming language here, but we're not gonna be. I'm not gonna be coming. I mean, I'm not gonna be teaching you how to use this programming language. So the reason I'm doing this is that I just want to challenge myself, and this might make the course not, you know, edible for whoever is trying this stuff. But really feel free if you if you want to come and understand the language, like introduction. I think they have really good they have really good documentation here. This is actually perfect. Even though we're not going to be learning the Dirt programming language here, but I do encourage you to come and actually check these out. And more often than not, I do believe that I'm going to be able to make like a relentless references to the kinds of stuff. Like if something is not working out, we'll have to actually come here and browse our knowledge onto this stuff. Now, I am being cocky about this stuff because a lot of these things here, if you, for anybody who knows how to write programs in any other programming language, a lot of these stuffs are kind of already you kind of know. So for really a programmer who is experienced, the issue is not really about understanding like the art, say the basics of programming. It's more about application. How do you, like if you are thrown a language, if a language is thrown at you at a job, so you got to be able to figure things out. So things like control flow commands or iterations or whatever writing function or classes, this shouldn't be a problem for a senior developer. And so I'm going to expect that you actually know you are fluent in any other programming language, at least a C style kind of programming language. That could be TypeScript, JavaScript, or it could be Java, or it could be Dirt itself, or it could be other server-side languages like Python or whatever. If you have that kind of understanding, then this course is perfectly for you. The idea is to test yourself, to kind of see if at your job that you are thrown a challenge to go and build something completely from scratch, let's say using a different kind of language. That's kind of testing your comfort zone to say if you can pull up something like that. And I don't know anything about Dirt, right? I have never written any, not even a single hello world have I even written it in Dirt. And so a lot of this stuff, we're going to actually figure it out. So this is also a perfect opportunity for somebody who is a Dirt programmer or somebody who has already known Flutter. If you know Flutter and you're an expert into that, then I welcome you to be part of this course so you can actually also guide us and kind of be, when you come here, I want you to be able to put your, because I'll be publishing this part of the documentation that we're putting here. And so you can kind of also comment and even create a new, like a new kind of, feel free to create a new document and then attach it to this one here in a comment so the community can actually benefit from that. And so this is one of the core reasons that I chose to do these, right? I chose to do this because look at it. I can actually review if you are, for example, somebody who is if you're somebody who is already, let's say if you have registered here, I can actually add you here as a co-author, and then you can actually review this document. All right, so once you review this document, then it's gonna, you and I are gonna appear here. So I wanna have as many co-authors here as possible. And so if you are proficient in Dirt or in Flutter, the kinds of language that we're going to be using, I'm gonna encourage you to come here and help so we can learn this thing together, because I'm not an expert in doing this stuff, but I'm kind of somebody who likes challenging himself. And so I like to sometimes jump into a project, screw myself up. And I find that's actually the greatest way of learning is by doing stuff, right? And then coming to kind of discover yourself and learning something about it. And so if you think this actually appeals to you, I encourage you to come here and sign up for this on Sqaico. It's a free website. It's a thing that I have built, and so I want to be able to encourage to be able to do something that is much more different than what the mainstream SaaS industry or software development industry people actually do. So this would get you also something that you know that, hey, okay, I do actually know what it is that I'm talking about. I mean, in most cases, it's just that this part of the programming using Dirt or Flutter, in which case that's gonna come, that were kind of separate. And so I'm going to assume that my web development sort of knowledge can translate really well here. And also we're going to be using quite a bit of AI to help us actually do this work. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So it looks like this is actually VS Code in the browser. So what do we have here? Yeah, so this looks like it's a VS Code, and so but in a way that we can actually test this stuff. How amazing is that? You can see that that's actually perfect. So let's see if we can actually run some stuff here. So in the output terminal, we've got a terminal here. So it looks like we can. I have no idea basically what all these things are right now, but no worries. We'll go and all figure this out. And so let's see. So if I run this, let's see what's gonna happen. And it says that it's the console is kind of debugging, and then it says that Gradle is also doing some kind of stuff. So okay, so we've got our whole thing actually running, and we've got the app actually running, and this is part of the thing that we're gonna have to be doing here. But for now, I'm just gonna go and stop this debugger, and I don't know, could be if this is going to be the best way of doing that. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this and just pretend that we are fine. I could also say, what about here? Let's print something. After this, I'm gonna say program ended. Now, how do I know how to do this? This is because I'm just basically applying my programming language here to see if I can actually do stuff here right away. And so the one thing I can actually see really is that this is really difficult to run applications here, because okay, so you can see we are having program ended, and so that's actually good. That's a pretty good kind of ways to write these apps. And so yes, and so something like this, for anybody who is like, let's say, a Dirt senior developer, this is actually your chance to actually help us to move in the right track. But I'm just basically going to be facilitating and leading kind of the big picture guy here. But technically, I would need somebody, if you're actually watching this, to be able to to kind of review the kinds of stuff that we're doing. Either you could do that by coming here and becoming one of the co-author for this particular page, right? I'm not gonna pay you for that, but we're gonna all benefit from these, from the learning that we're making. So just make sure that you understand that when you are aspiring, when you're coming to become a co-author in the thing, and then you kind of get added benefits of being known by the people who are the audiences of this course. And perhaps maybe somebody could book you up, right? Because here you could do that. Somebody could book you up, and then if somebody actually books you up, then you get to kind of introduce your, ooh, that's pretty bad. So what does that do? Let's see. So if I come here, if I click here, there's actually a glitch. I think there's a glitch here. So if I say book meetings, so oh, okay, so I can book myself. So what about if I come here, I click on that? That's the real problem there. So it looks like there's something weird happening there, but because I know the application well, so I can kind of change things around. So the point I was trying to make here is that you can set up like how much you want to be paid. If say like you are willingly to help somebody on pay basis, then you can add that there, and the person can actually come and book you. So since this is my own account, my test account for this particular stuff, so it's not gonna run. And so you can actually do that. But if I come to say here, I come to this part here, and then I see this guy here, this is my other account, this is my real account, right? Leave alone this other test account here. But I'm going to be doing everything here under test account. But do not do stuff on test accounts. Just make sure you put your real self, like the way I am here. So if I go here, the reason I'm doing this is so that I can kind of demonstrate some of this stuff here. So you can see here, I can actually book up this guy, right? I can book up Lagu. This is Lagu Longa. Obviously, this is myself on the other account, but you can actually do these. And so the course documentation that we're gonna have, right, is gonna be actually here. That's we're gonna be documenting course materials and documentation, and we're gonna be using Sqaico, and then also and then we're going to say course community, case community. We're going to be using Sqaico. This is going to be Sqaico courses. That would be, I think, EduSky. That's actually, I think that's EduSky. Yeah, EduSky, Sqaico EduSky. So that's what we're going to be. Hold on, no, that's not EduSky. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be using, and then the course community is actually going to be part of it. Is going to be EduSky, EduSky plus Deepex. Say like you have something that you want to ask me real-time question, you see me on it, that's what we're going to be using. And then we're also going to be using for all these are on Sqaico. So these are all Sqaico product. Sqaico community building building products. So we're gonna go here with this is for video conferencing, this is for course publication, and the other one is Sqaico. Sqaico is like a messaging. This is for messaging, real-time messaging, and I'm gonna go specifically create a group chat. All right, so there's gonna be a group chat which I don't know how it's gonna be called, but I will come and include that here for documentation. So this one is for the course interaction stuff, like commenting, etc. And then Deepex would be for one-on-one. So if you do feel like you need some questions, it's things which are not very it's not very clear, you gotta pay me up. You come to never mind. I'm kidding. I understand that a lot of you guys are going to be maybe outside the United States, and so the challenge would be, even if you want to pay me, you may not be able to do the payment stuff. And so I'm gonna be able to do my level best to actually answer any question on real time. So you get to actually see me, because there is a video. This is a video conferencing. Solution on Sqaico. So it's actually working. So if you don't believe me, test it out. You can try to call your girlfriend or your boyfriend on, or your husband or wife or whatever, or your daughter or your son on this, and try to test it out, or your friend. Basically just bring them here and test it out and see if what I'm saying is right. And the same thing also here is text messaging. So we're gonna have, this is, you can do one-on-one text messaging here, or you can also do group messaging here. So for our case, we're going to be doing group messaging using Sqaico. And if it works well and we are able to build a little bit of organization or movement into this, we can actually use e-business on Sqaico as well, and kind of create like a formal sort of a structure. If there are people who would want to take this to a next level, of course I would want to hand over that to other people so they can manage this stuff, and so it becomes a business that can actually benefit someone, somebody somewhere outside there. So the last tech stack that we're going to be talking about is going to be I believe that's going to be called the front, what is it? The framework that we're going to be using. So we are also going to do a little bit of work here. Let's see. Let's go to Chat GPT. I'm not going to be able to kind of load into this one here, but let's go to OpenAI so we can find some answers and whatever that stuff is. What the hell? I thought this is supposed to just be like a stuff that I can just go ahead and type. Yeah, forget about that. I don't want that. Let's just say, can you just stop? Okay, so let's see. So it's not wanting to let me clear the current chat. Yes, please. So is Flutter a framework for, is a framework or a library? What is it? So actually this is great. We're gonna be using a lot of this. So Flutter is a framework, not a library. So the thing here is that what is actually the difference? What is the difference between what's the difference between a framework and a library? So it's a very common question, even in I think in interviews that people kind of get to ask. So you can do yourself a favor and learn to kind of differentiate between a framework and a library, if that helps. But we're glad that the AI is actually helping us, and I do believe this. And feel free, if the AI is wrong or if I'm wrong in my belief, then try to do that. And more importantly, they say it's created by Google for building natively compiled application for mobile, web, and desktop from a single code base. And that's actually perfect. That's what we need, because with exception of the compiled application sort of stuff, I come from much more different world where we don't think about like compiling an application. You just run, you just build it and run. So TypeScript doesn't have that kind of bullshit of kind of compiling stuff up, right, and building it and stuff like that. So you just write this stuff and then you run it, and that's it. So yes, so the good thing here is also it's an open source, and it has like pre-built UI elements and tooling, so which means we're not gonna be dealing with HTML, CSS, and probably stuff like that. I believe that's the case, because if they do have that, then that's a big problem. So, and then more importantly, it says here we're going to be using the Dart programming language, which I actually showed you earlier on, and the development tools will be here. The tools that we're going to need is Flutter Dev Tools, Flutter CLI, and Flutter plugin for IDEs like VS Code and Android Studio. So that brings me to the next question is that what is going to be our integrated development environment. So the IDE here kind of stands for integrated development environment. So the most popular one that you might want to use is going to be VS Code and Android Studio. So I've used a couple of this stuff. There's Android Studio, there's IntelliJ, there is yada 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 yada. So there's all kinds of stuff. But out of all these, my favorite is actually VS Code, and we're gonna try to see if VS Code actually will be the best to use this stuff to use for our project. But if we don't, then we're gonna have to switch to maybe Android Studio. I've never used this actually for building application, but we'll see how that plays out. So more importantly, we've got some other things that we're gonna actually learn, and then also for this particular stuff, we're gonna use AI to guide us excessively. There are things that if we don't understand, I think the quick way for us to do the research is to ask the AI for that stuff. And so what do we know from here? The note in our note, I think we're gonna have to put something down. So we know the tech stack here is going to be that, and then the framework is going to be Flutter. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and include this here, the Flutter. Let's see, where is that's the AI didn't actually give us anything. No, I don't want to log in. Come on, ChatGPT. I said I don't want to log in. Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? What can I have? Okay, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna go ahead and do Flutter framework. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and the flutter.dev, it looks like this is going to be, yes, this is actually, I think this is really what we need. And everything is starting to look great even before we start. So you can see we have our mobiles and desktop and the other yada stuff. And it looks like there's also gonna be some stuff for web, and more importantly, you can see Google stands out there like the giant stuff. I've never been a fan of Google really when it comes to like development stuff, but there's all kinds of people really love it, and so yeah, well, I'm here either way, so I'm gonna see if this is actually gonna play well. And so I think the most important thing is that you can come ahead and play around with some of these showcasing stuff and learn more, which I think at some point off the camera, I will also do shows just to kind of learn, so I'm able to better kind of lead the course. But I do recommend you should come and learn some of this stuff. So the web, the mobile, I mean, so say here, if we're building stuff for the web, so this is actually Flutter on the web easily, and blah 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 blah, whatever yada 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 yada. And so that's interesting. Yeah, so let's see. Boom, 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 boom. So this is development. We can actually learn stuff here. AI with AI games, monetization, perfect. So there's all kinds of packages around here. Let's see. Is that what we want to be with? So let's actually just remain here. And then documentation. So here, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff. I think this is going to be the thing that we're going to be covering out, and there are already videos here, so feel free to come and cheat the course a little bit, just learn more about these resources here, because that's really it. That's the art of self-teaching, right? If you love teaching yourself, so there's no other way of doing it other than reading documentations and watching lots and lots of videos on YouTube. And at some point, I'm also going to be able to watch some of this stuff. There are certain things I know I can't come dry. I need to learn ahead of time so we can come and discuss and digest and get to learn more about what we're doing. But this particular kinds of video, we just want to keep it simple and straightforward. All we got to do right now here is document this URL, and so we can see, okay, so the docs are here. I think this is the thing that I'm really interested in. That's what I'm going to document. And so this is where we're going to have the documentation, and I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Okay, just in case you come back and you want to learn more about it, then you can do that. So let's see, we are here, aren't we? Yes, we are here actually. So the video editing stuff, don't worry about that. That's not your cup of tea as a programmer. But in case you want to be able to follow me and also learn, maybe you want to challenge and put some videos out and you don't know how to edit it, it's worthy to go and learn DaVinci. It will actually help you a lot. Another way is to use Premiere Pro, but for this particular course, I don't want to talk about Premiere Pro because they are licensing. You don't get to have like something for free. Maybe they have changed that, but at least 4 or 5 years ago, I've never seen Premiere Pro or the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. I've never seen that being like free for people to use. So that's why I have chosen DaVinci. And if you think that has changed, please make sure you put it on the comment below so we can also learn from that stuff. Okay, so should we wrap it here? Are we missing anything? Let's see. Are we missing anything here? So I'll come and flesh out this particular documentation at some point, and then you'll come and see if that's actually if that's going to be helpful. But by the time you come, most likely when you are watching this video, I like to stress you the URL is never going to be dev.sqaico.com. It's probably going to be sqaico.com. That dev is going to be removed away because this is only for development. We're testing other stuff here, but by the time you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure it might be called Sqaico, right? And if you don't have and if for by off chance, if it still happens to be here, then I might be able to put this this would be your access code. Now if you find this access code, it's going to be for anyone who has actually come here. The access code for the document. This is going to be, let me see, I think it's going to be docs. And I think docs, probably docs or something like that. And we're going to go and put it dirt. Okay, so let's see, Flutter. So that's going to be the Flutter, and I don't know what the other one is going to be, but it's probably going to be 2025, something like this. Maybe 2024, yeah. So let's just keep it there like that. So but make sure you check this stuff, because if it is not right, if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to update this access code. So it may not appear as you see right now here, but whatever appears on this document at the end of it, that's the right stuff to use. And so I think we've covered up pretty much on the decision part of what we want to do, and what this actually what this course is going to be about or something. So here we've talked about like basically tech stacks, wow. I don't know, not tech stuff, but we've talked mostly about the tech stack, so the things that we're going to be using, and then I might circle back and come and complete this tech stack, because there are other things that we're going to be doing. So this course, this particular document is going to have updates at some point to come, but for this particular video, I think that's it. We want to just keep it basic and like that. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. So get ready to energize and build an awesome application. So see you next time. Bye.